Welcome to episode 5 of the Action Takers podcast.
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.
Co-host Nate. We got JC here with us as usual. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing. I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling good. I'm a little lighter on my toes right now, which is a good thing. Having a great day, having a great week. It's kind of been a roller coaster ride for me, but it's been nothing but excitement.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, it's fucking great right now. Mid 80s, sunny here. Can't complain. Wore shorts today. It's
Yeah.
ready for summer.
Heck yeah, man, dude. It's yeah. I could smell it. Like it's. I'm ready to not be wearing sweatshirts anymore. It's one of those things that just. I'm not a big winter guy. I really don't like being cold at all. Like, unless I'm doing something very specific, like snowboarding or like, we're going to go, I won't even go ice fishing. I think that's stupid, but it's maybe ice skating. Other than that, I'm not a big fan of the winter.
Me neither. I definitely like the hot weather. That wearing jeans and a sweatshirt though is cool, but been doing that enough. I'm ready for a tank top and shorts.
Fucking
Sun out,
sport shorts, some sandals.
Oh yeah,
a little more golf, a little less rain. I'm pretty pumped up about it.
That's coming up. Got your Augusta National hat on. That's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner, buddy. It's it's gonna be it's gonna be very exciting here in a couple weeks. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
What do we got in the agenda this week's episode? We don't have a website yet because I've been slacking. We don't have a podcast hosting site yet because I've been slacking. And it's going to be up there. It's going to be up there at some point in time. If you guys and gals enjoy what we're producing, do me a favor, subscribe, like, and leave us a comment. The comments are huge. And it allows us to interact with our audience. And if you get any value out of it, please do. If you don't get any value out of it, tell us. I don't give a shit. Today I was making a TikTok, and this guy writes on my little picture thing, my little TikTok video, who goes, "This dude's got 103 followers giving out TikTok video advice. Clown." And I'm like, you got to start somewhere. It's not like I have been. I've got 103 more than you do. It just, you got to start somewhere.
You do got to start somewhere, and just because you're I don't want to say late to the game, but just because you're starting out now doesn't mean you don't have a following other places. Just getting started with doing the TikTok. It's all good,
dude. If I had 103 people sitting in a room with me and I was speaking to them on a regular basis, like, dude, I would be the king, right? That would be, I'd buy an island, I'd put those people on there, and we'd rule the world. But I don't know. It just always cracks me up that like people discount other people based on the number next to their name. And I think a lot of times, like, I've met a few people where you don't need a lot of numbers when it comes to like followers or subscribers to make a difference. It's like, and to impact my business and your business. Like, it only takes a few people who are like ready to do what you're asking them to do. And I think if I was someone who was a little less confident, I think a comment like that would be like absolutely like detrimental. I would go into a dark place for a week.
Yeah, but so I mean, this obviously gets kind of on the topic we want to talk about getting uncomfortable, right? How many people are not getting in front of the camera and even doing that? They're not taking that action. They're doing that is uncomfortable for a lot of people. On that, like, oh man, I only got 103 followers, right? You can be negative about it, or a positive. Hey, I got 103 followers, which is a lot more than a lot of people. So, and you got to, like, so you got to start building it somewhere, and doing that, getting uncomfortable in front of the camera. And I don't know how uncomfortable you are, but a lot of people are uncomfortable, and you got to just start doing it and taking that action and shoot the video and put it up there. Don't do it too many times. I found it easier if I just do it a one take and post it, and just don't look at it for a little bit. Just post it on there, and then I'll worry about it later.
You just send it out in the world, because you never, like, the great thing about producing content is you never know. Like, you don't know if a highly, edited piece of content that looks like every other viral piece of content out there in the world, and yours just flops. And it is what it is. You got to let the algorithm take it. But I think if you get more at bats, if you get more opportunities, if you get more, just shots at the target, like, you're gonna have that virality. You're gonna have that ability to get, those followers or that subscriber count up. It's something that, a New York Times bestseller isn't a New York Times seller if no one writes it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to take a chance and put yourself out there. So one of the topics we want to talk about today is getting out of your comfort zone. Hey, let's open it up. Like, what are some of the things that you've done to get out of your comfort zone, to change things up, or to go further in life?
So there, the biggest thing is changing careers, right? So many people get stuck and comfortable wherever they work, right? So you probably get paid a decent amount of money. You know what you're doing every day. You have a set schedule. You work with people you like. So you a lot of people get in that routine. That's the hardest thing. I from my old jobs a lot. It's a great place to work. I work for a big box retailer. Good pay for what you do, good benefits. And so a lot of people, though, get stuck, and they'll work there for a long time doing the same position, which is fine if that's what you want to do. Like we always say, it's fine. But so many people, I don't like my job, I don't like this. Well, why don't you go find something else? I don't want to do that. I don't want to start over. People will have all these excuses, and changing careers, you just got to take that leap. And that is an uncomfortable thing for people to do, and that's why so many people are stuck in that, what they call the rat wheel, the rat race. So they're just stuck and they don't want to get uncomfortable. I think that was the biggest thing. I stepped away from that place twice, both times, to attempt my law enforcement career. And both, in the first time, people are like, oh, I can't believe you're doing that. I can't believe, because they can't see themselves leaving. They can't see themselves getting in an uncomfortable position, taking that risk, because when you start change careers, you're on probation, you can get fired at any time, all this stuff. And people don't want to risk that. So those, that's kind of where during my career journey, where I've gotten used to it, right? Once you've done it, then it's not a big deal anymore. Being able to go to another job and taking that risk and getting uncomfortable is just, it's a great thing to do. Once you finally do it one time and realize, hey, it's really not that big of a deal. I can start over. If you believe in yourself, then you have nothing to worry about.
It's one of those things, like, when someone explains to me, like, hey, I want consistency. I want some things that are guaranteed. I want that great benefits. I want that cushy retirement when I retire at 67 years old. And I look at them and I go, you're risking it all. You're taking on all this risk right now to possibly guarantee a life that you aren't even going to be able to live. Like, I've known so many people in the world that, one, don't need healthcare right now. Like, and we can get into that, but if you took the chance and said, hey, I'm going to go, I've saved 12 months or 6 months of income. I can live on $2,000 a month, and I could take a shot. I could I could go from, bagging the groceries, carrying a gun, working at the fucking, the donut shop, to taking a risk and taking a chance where no one else is willing to, like, not a lot of people are willing to do that. And I think oftentimes people make it more scary than they actually it is. And when I say that, I mean the current situation they're in, the shitty situation they're in, working the job that they hate. Like, who the fuck wants to sign up for that? Like, that, I can always go back to that shitty job. Like, I could always go back selling. I could always go back doing whatever I used to do because I obtained and required that skill. And all of a sudden, moving forward, God, I get out of that comfort zone and you can reinvent yourself. Like one of the things that I loved about changing careers so many times, because I seem like I do it about every 3 years, um, is the ability to reinvent yourself. Take the good things that you like about what you were doing and then implement them in the future. And the things that you didn't particularly like for me, it was the depression, the mental health struggles, the fucking alcohol fucking I was consuming. Those are the things I left behind, but the things that I took forward is the overall confidence that I can take on any situation in the world. The risks I'm taking now are financial risks, which are way lower than taking a risk with your life daily. I mean, you know, as a former cop, it was one of those things that you showed up to a call for service, and all of a sudden you might get into a fucking gunfight. Well, that's not very safe. Like, that's not very comfortable. Like, oh, but you get a paycheck. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't get a paycheck if I'm dead. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people struggle with this. And I think a lot of people struggle with this because the fucking old school generation of showing up, working 35 years and dying was just empowering these people. And I think it's got to change.
Yeah, you know, and one of the biggest takeaways too is just the perspective, right? We got to see a lot of things that most people don't ever see, you know, and we used to see that on a daily basis. So it really gave perspective on just that, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of things we dealt with where you don't know when your last day is, right? I mean, there's all kinds of we've seen all kinds of crazy stuff that can happen. So that thing of like, hey, I'm gonna work here for 35 years and hope everything it works out as good. I mean, man, that's it, anything can change, anything can happen. So do what you like, right? Don't you know, you got to have that perspective. And that too, I think, is the biggest perspective when you realize things is like things aren't really that big of a deal, right? Whatever it is. I mean, even losing a job, right? It's people, it's not that big of a deal. You just go find another one. It's really, some people get their identity so tied into certain things, and yeah, but once you go through and experience things, it's not that big of a deal for these situations, and it really just helps having that perspective to be like you say, instead of you know, taking risks with your life and working crazy hours and all this stuff. Now it's financial risk, which for a lot of people, you know, they're taking a financial risk in the sense of like, hey, this is all I'm capped out at my pay. This is all I'm going to make, and you know, living that, you know, not out, getting outside the comfort zone of like getting into six figures, you know, yearly, five figures a month, you know, whatever it is. So, you know.
Well, and I think a lot of times that we have this maybe a little different perspective because we have seen the other side of the freaking coin, and sometimes that other side of the coin is people who are absolutely have lost everything, who I mean, they are homeless, they're addicted, they are just struggling day in and day out, and you realize if you're gonna take that chance and that's rock bottom, the best country to do it in is the United States. And pick a state. Fuck, California will give you $983 a month and a cell phone to live on the streets. I mean, if you're gonna take any risk, like I can go make $3,000, be miserable, or I could go and take some of that money, save it, invest it into my education, my future, whatever it is. Maybe go out and start something. Maybe go buy something. Maybe go work for a company or go do something, move somewhere that fucking will make you happy. Shit, for me, like one of the biggest things that we've done is just we sold everything and left. We're like, fucking peace out, like bye. And guess what? That was incredibly uncomfortable. You come to a new place where you're not familiar with the culture, you're not familiar with the, you're driving down the road, there's Confederate flags, and you're like, oh, that's weird. Thought that was over a long time ago, but you kind of get uncomfortable, and then all of a sudden you get very comfortable being uncomfortable, and you find out a lot about yourself, and you grow a lot as a person. Shit, it's really remarkable. Some of the things that we've learned in just a couple of years.
Oh yeah. I mean, agreed. And that's even that too. When I find myself getting comfortable, I'm like, okay, I need to get uncomfortable in a sense, because you get used to being uncomfortable and putting yourself in those situations, and you realize that's how you can grow, right? I mean, like you said, going to a new place, and what it is too, I find it's kind of freeing in a way, because you are in a new place. You have a clean slate. You can do whatever you want, to an extent of you know rebranding yourself, or what, like, hey, no one knows me here. This is what I'm gonna be about now. And you don't, with that, right, when you're around your friends, around people, you don't want to, it's really hard to get uncomfortable. It's hard to sell someone something, or whatever you're doing when you don't know anyone. Like, hey, none of these people know me, so I'm gonna go and get uncomfortable and do whatever I need to do to succeed.
It's one of those things in law enforcement. It was something that we talked about a lot, was complacency kills. If you became complacent in your daily job, like you pull over the same car 100 times, but if you lack the discipline to make sure you do your job as safely as possible every single time, that 101 time, that's when the dude fucking pulls out a gun and shoots you in the face, because you were being lazy, or you were gonna be, you didn't make the proper, you decided not to turn on your flashlight, you decided to be a little more lackadaisical and not run the license plate, and realize that it was fucking stolen and the guy driving is a fucking murderer. I think a lot of times we get really complacent in life, and the people who are struggling right now, who are maybe not willing to take that action, I think are incredibly complacent. And I think the fucking another thing is, I'm sick and tired of the fucking excuses. Like, oh, I get, the benefits here are really good. And it's like, you fucking really? The benefits aren't good here? Are you kidding me? Have you been to, when's the last time you've been to the doctor? Okay, did you sit in the ER for fucking 8 hours like I did? I mean, the benefits suck. And I mean, you're that's the reason you stay? Oh God, they better come with a freaking bottle of bourbon every fucking day if it's that comfortable. So I think a lot of people are just fucking making up excuses, and they need to get their head out of their ass. That was kind of violent. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go that violent, but I did.
No, but you know what? Where to, and actually kind of going back, where it's really noticeable is with, when COVID started, right? People were sitting at home, getting paid to sit at home, and instead of taking advantage of, hey, I got all this free time, I'm getting paid to be at home for whatever reason, whatever their situation is. Maybe they lost their job. They had all this free time and getting paid. I think the majority of the people were playing video games and not doing things right. I mean, people could have been working out every day, starting their own business, starting their own or side business, doing whatever, bettering themselves, reading. And a lot of people I know, just for whatever reason, and they were just, hey, it's essentially, I don't want to say party time, but going out and just, hey, cool, I got all this free time, I'm gonna go do whatever, play video games, I'm gonna go out to just spend this money online, right? Like, on, obviously, sales skyrocketed for Amazon and a lot of online purchases. So people were just, they had the perfect opportunity for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. They were getting paid, and they could have totally, changed their lives and say, cool, this is a starting point. I can save this money and use it, or just better myself. And I feel like a lot of people, they didn't. They just, I don't want to say played the victim card, but they didn't go to the gym, didn't get healthy, didn't do better themselves, and that's where I think a lot of it, really showed what people do when given an opportunity.
So what, I mean, let's play devil's advocate. Let's play Monday morning quarterback to what you just said. COVID happened. It is what it is. These fucking people sat on their ass, played video games, whatever. Unless they became like you could have been a content creator doing video games, and you probably have fucking 100,000 followers, which would be amazing. But what would be the one thing that you could tell someone, like, right now, like, hey, if you want to get out of your comfort zone, like, what's the one step that someone could take tomorrow? Maybe it's not quit their job.Maybe it's not like tell their boss to fuck off and, they pack up their pickup truck and fucking decide to go camping for the next year. I mean, but what is one of the things that maybe that you could, suggest to someone to get out of that comfort zone?
So obviously, if they're not into fitness, I think the biggest thing, right, is hey, go sign up for a gym membership. that for a lot of people, that's uncomfortable to get to the gym. They might not know anything about the gym. They might not, never been there, or maybe it's been years. Go sign up for a gym membership, start walking on the treadmill, start lifting some weights. There's a ton of people there. Believe it or not, a lot of people in the gym don't talk to people, but I guarantee you can find someone that you just ask them, hey, how do you do this? How do you use this machine? More than likely someone would be happy to help you. Because it's just being there, especially people you can tell who someone's new, right? They don't go there. And that's awesome for those people. Like I'm always so stoked to see people that you can tell they're new in the gym, and that's awesome. They did that first step. They're in the gym, and then they're doing whatever it is. That's the biggest way, because you get multiple benefits of being uncomfortable and doing something, and it's really not that big of a deal once you get there. And start improving your health, because there's so many people that don't go. On a side note, the gym I've been going to, it's been still packed. I want to say I'm proud of everyone. We're almost into April, and the parking lot at 5-6 o'clock, which is peak time, is still packed. I'm expecting already for it to slow down. It's kind of annoying, because I'm like, God damn, I got to jump around on these machines and look for what's open. But at the same time, I'm really surprised, because usually by now gyms start dying down, and the gyms I go to still are not dying down. So that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool. It's I would suggest to people, like, it's something that I do. Whatever you love doing, whatever you enjoy doing, like that in your free time, like, go out there and do it, but do it by yourself. Just like the gym. Like, if you just go there and you just open your mind and you don't let what you think other people are thinking about you think, and just kind of delete that from your mind and just be very open to meeting new people, I think you'd be surprised on the experience that you would have. Like, some of my best friends literally I've met playing golf. I was by myself. They showed up and were like, all right, let's play some golf. And you spend fucking 4 hours with that person. And all of a sudden you have a cocktail at the end and you're like, fuck, let's fucking do this again, And it's one of those things that I think it's kind of awkward and weird in the beginning. But if you get over that part, it's amazing.
So just to kind of go off that, one of my favorite things is doing things by myself, like going to one of my favorite places, Panera Bread. Go in there, get your food, and sit there eating by yourself. Like, I don't know, doing things like that, which a lot of people won't. A lot of people would not go out and go and get a meal by themselves. I think it's one of the greatest things. Sit on your phone or do some work, and just doing that by yourself. It's one of the great things. Like, yeah, like you're saying, whether it's playing golf, whether it's going to a restaurant, whether it's going to the movies, do something by yourself, because it is uncomfortable for a lot of people, right? You're always with your significant other or with some friends or whatever, family. But yeah, doing things by yourself is another great thing to get it. That's uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's once you do it once or twice, I mean, you start, man, I want to start doing it by myself. I don't want to deal with anyone when I go and eat. Then you got to talk and do all this. No, just go and enjoy your food by yourself. And it's very liberating. So to piggyback off what you're saying, that's another great thing to do. To get uncomfortable and get used to being uncomfortable.
It's just, I don't know. I think people need to take some action. All right. Here on the Action Takers podcast, while we interrupt the show, pay the dues. If you watched it to this point, if you listened to this point, leave us a comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It's something that I don't bring up enough. And it's just a friendly reminder. Help us out.
Help us out, even if it's even if it's like,
I like,
damn, Nate's hair looks like crap. I don't know, his forehead shiny. I don't know. Just leave something there. I don't care, good or bad. Give us honest feedback. Give it to us straight.
I agree. I think that's what we need. What else is on the agenda, Nate? What else do you want to talk about this show?
So I'm part of a coaching group, the Lion's Den, which is Sean Whalen's coaching group, if any of you guys know him. So that's something I started doing back in December. I joined that for personal development and to start investing in myself, which is another thing I recommend. If you're not investing in yourself to grow, you need to do that. Whether it's a personal trainer, whether it's some sort of coaching group, at the most basic, getting books to start putting that knowledge in. But what he was talking about today was, sales and telling your story. And it was a good reminder of, of what sometimes we get caught up, right? A lot of us, like we're talking about last, everyone's a salesperson. No matter what you do, you got to sell something. But what he was talking about is that if you tell your story correctly, you shouldn't have to sell. You should have the people that want to buy from you will be in front of you. If you're having to sell something, those aren't your customers. Those aren't the right people. And it's a good reminder, because so many times we do get caught up in, okay, are we getting enough leads? Are we getting enough people coming in? We just cast out this wide net, and then we wonder why, why aren't these people buying from us? This for whatever reason. Do we need to change our price? Do we need to change something about it? The biggest thing though, sometimes you just don't have the right customers in front of you, right? I mean, if you're looking for if you're looking for fast food, you're not going to go to a fancy restaurant, or vice versa. If a person is looking for a good burger, they're not going to go to a fast food place. It's so, certain fast food places, they cater to a certain type of person, right? Someone that is looking for something fast, quick, and not so healthy. Nice restaurant catering to a different type of person. So, a lot of that is are we telling the right story about our brand, about ourselves, to get in front of the right people, or have the right people in front of us that we don't even really have to sell to? They already know they want to buy our product, whatever it is.
It's one of those things that, like, on my entrepreneurial journey, I kept hearing this. I kept hearing about, tell your story, tell your audience what you're doing, and like what empowers you. And oftentimes I looked at it, I'm like, who the hell is going to care that a middle-aged, 30-something dad moved across the country to start a golf newsletter or podcast? Like, no one gives a shit. But then you actually, like, you go back and you tell the story of, like, hey, yeah, we sold everything, to go all in, to chase our dream, to be able to produce golf content on a daily basis. And the way we could do that was moving from California to Georgia. If you enjoy golf, you might enjoy, supporting our brand and wearing some of our gear. It's the Aloha Press. And then all of a sudden you're like, that was the best sales pitch I've ever done. Like, we didn't talk about price. We didn't talk about really, like, any of the products. I just told my story, and it might not be interesting to everyone, but it's specific, it's unique, it goes to that avatar. But and at the same time, it makes people feel like, fuck, like, I kind of know this person. Like, I want to support them. Like, fuck, their back was against the wall. They took all this risk and these chances. They got uncomfortable, and you just tell the story. And I think a lot of times, like, we miss that point, or we're embarrassed about making or telling that story, or sometimes just, like, not really know how to, like, articulate that story.
Yeah. And actually, kind of, this is kind of a good thing to even kind of bring back that guy that was commenting, like, hey, you only have 100 followers. And, with that, right, we think, oh, our story isn't important enough, isn't cool enough, isn't matter enough. We even us doing this, we're not trying to reach the Andy Frisells of the world, right? We're nothing compared to them. That we're our audience, right? We're talking to people that are maybe stuck at their job, and they are stuck. They do want to move, and they're like, we can inspire them or you can, to quit their job, sell everything they have, and move to a different state and start over. Or, like I said, they're stuck at this. They've been at the same retail job for 10 years, and something, they finally get the courage enough to look for another job, realize, oh shoot, there's a ton of jobs out here that pay a good amount of money, and get them to switch jobs, or maybe they've been just, at a certain level, and we help them become supervisor, manager, whatever they're trying to do. So the thing is where we go back to the storytelling, getting in front of the audience, knowing who your audience is, because there's always different levels of everything, and telling your story is just that's the way to do, and just realizing that you will, your story does matter to someone or to people, because that you don't know what it is that anyone can be going through or want to do, or how your story can relate to them. So it's always good to tell your story and let people know what you did and what you've done and where you're trying to go.
So a couple tools that I used on learning, because this is a learned skill. Like unless you just have the gift of gab, and maybe you grew up in a family that just sat around the campfire and told stories. A lot of times, like I think this is something that people are nervous about, but I think if they have the tools, and these are some of the things that I used to learn how to tell our story. One, I learned how to become a copywriter. So one of the things I talk about is there's a book that I read. It's very short. It's like 50 pages. It's called A Book I'll Teach You to Write Better by Neville Mendora. Incredible book. It just teaches you pretty much kind of the structure on how to like get people's attention, get people to fall down this slippery slope where they read the first sentence and they want to read the second one and they want to read the third one and they want to read the fourth one. You kind of create that experience. And another thing that I did was I read a book called On Writing. It's actually like it's like a teaching book, but also a biography for Stephen King. Stephen King. He's number one seller of books or horror books. I don't know. I've never read any of his books, but I read this book, and it was incredible. It really teaches you how to actually like write and like some of the words not to use. Like he goes, there's one thing that you need to delete from your writing, and it's called adverbs. Like if a word ends in ly, get rid of it unless it's absolutely necessary. And then a book that I recently read was called Storyworthy. Storyworthy is about a guy who's teaching you how to tell true stories about your life, and he does it some in writing, but most of it's in like the ability to like actually speak it and kind of hit on certain points and techniques. So some of those are some of the tools that I use to learn how to tell a better story.
As I haven't done any formal education on storytelling.
Okay.
A lot. I guess my storytelling is just from the hip or from just what
Well,
my
so
experiences.
here I'll give you a couple. So I try
Yeah.
and write notes when I read books, like, and I never know like when things are gonna pop up in my life where I need it. So I put them on a Google Doc, and sure enough, the Storyworthy book, I took just pages and pages of notes because the shit was it's teaching you like very specific on how to write a story. So these are the three keys to a story, and I'll share this with you out of my notes. It's the beginning of your story is the most important because at the end it has to reflect change. If you look at any halfway decent movie, book, or sitcom, they always start out one way and end in another way. And key number two is your story should start out as close to the end as possible. For example, the movie Ocean's 11, in order to plan that heist, it would have taken years. But instead, they smashed this story into like 3 or 4 days. And, it just has less moving parts. And then the third key to a story is to try to start your story with forward momentum whenever possible. Establish yourself as a person who is physically moving through space. The story will immediately have momentum. You look at some of the great movies, they typically begin with some type of movement. And if you look back and like some of the things that you watch or you are entertained by, most of that shit's moving, which is weird. And you start to get kind of familiarized with some of these techniques, and all the greats use them, especially with these three keys to building a story.
Yeah. They're all spot on for things. You can think about all those three things, and with a lot of movies or any type of good storytelling, all those things. So to take some of those take some notes down on that. And which another thing too is I haven't done and I do need to do more is when I do read, and I know it helps. I mean, a lot of people recommend it, is writing down things, whatever it is. I'll try and take a picture of a page or something if there's something really good. But yeah, writing down things is always good. On a little side note for that.
It one of the things, so like with our platform, which would you kind of discounted us. I disagree. I think we are going to reach the Andy Frisillas of the world. I think at some point in time they need to be inspired by a different show, and they're going to turn to this new podcast that's coming up, ready to take them down from their reins.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Not discounted where we are, right? Because
We're very new.
yeah,
We're not even on a podcast platform yet, so we're we're not even in competition yet.
no, yeah, but it's what I saw someone a bigger, another influencer person, business owner, say that too, because that's what he was talking about, right? He's like, I'm at this level, I'm not at X's level, and I'm trying to reach the Y people or Z people, whatever it is. So and everyone's like that, we all have those different levels and what we're at, right? Like whether it's, even though, like I was saying, that the someone at the gym that's not a trainer, that has, they just work out, they can help that very new person, right? I can help people that have some gym experience, but I've been working out for a long time, but there's certain people that I can't, I wouldn't have the things, to help them with. So it's like that, the point of just, no matter who you are, where you are, we all have a story. We all have some sort of skill we can help someone else with, right? I mean, even when you've been at your job, right? They hire someone new. You might not be a supervisor, but you're going to have something that you can help those new people with, and there's other people that can help you with. So there's the point of that is just, we're all have different levels. Everyone's story matters. Believe it or not, people want to hear your story, and so it's tell it, and don't worry, don't overthink it, because there's freaking millions and millions and millions of people out there, and as much as you think that you've saturated the market or people know about you, and I think I even brought the, I don't know if talked about this, but a lot of people don't. I'll wear a shirt, a lion's not sheep, to go back to a shirt. Every time I wear a particular shirt, a particular one, the original one that they started with, I always get asked about it. That shirt, I've never got asked more about a t-shirt that I've worn in my life. Every time I go out, someone asks me random. And like I said, this is a multi-million-dollar company. They're doing $1 million a month in sales of their apparel. And there's a ton of people that don't know about it. So when that had happened, it really, stuck with me, because even what I do, and we think, man, everyone's heard about our rat business. We're in a smaller town. We don't need we're saturated the market. That every time, that reminded me that no matter how much you think you've saturated the market, there are still people in your market that don't know about you. There's a ton of people that don't know about you. So tell your story. Yeah.
Well, it's crazy. So like, to hit on that, like to give you an example of like some of the largest account in the world. Like if you ask my grandma who Mr. Beast was, or if you ask some tech nerdy guy, like, hey, who's Mr. Beast? They'd be like, I fucking don't know. Who are you talking about? This guy has over like 900 million followers on like fucking YouTube and all his platforms. And there's still people that don't know who he is. And the one thing that he figured out was that only a certain amount of people speak English. So he started translating his videos so that they can prescribe them to actual other countries so he can get more followers. Like, so the world is so fucking big and your audience can be absolutely ginormous. Don't ever think that that you've told your story too many times. Because even, you tell your story one time, and then a couple of years, your story might change a little bit. It might change in the sense of like what you're selling, your idea, your productivity, or whatever it is. I think, you have the ability to change your story at times, and because most people haven't heard you.
Yeah. So a couple of things on that. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who he was until you sent me that clip a couple of weeks back. And there'll be people that'll pop up on Instagram or whatever this is. You'll click on it and it'll look like this person has 2 million followers. I've never heard of them. 3 million, like I all the time. They got blue check mark and millions of followers. I'm like, I never heard of this person. So no matter what you think, there are tons of people that are out there that are famous that have these following, and you don't even know anything about, because there's so many niches out there, right? And to go back to even when we were talking about, there are people that are into camping. There are people that are into knives. There are people into guns. There are people that are into every little thing that you can think of. There is a following for that. And those people have built a following. Just because you might think, oh man, no one's into butterflies, as Andy Frizzle saying, but I'm into butterflies. Believe it or not, there's probably a ton of people that are into butterflies. So whatever it is, and I'm not into butterflies, but it just was an example. There's a ton of people that haven't heard about it and have heard about you or heard about whatever that is. And so there's, yeah, just tell your story. Man, there's another thing I was going to go off of that as we were talking, and I totally lost my train of thought because I got into that tangent.
With your butterflies.
My butterflies and telling your story and people not, yeah, that there's a ton of people out there. And about that, right? Because the goal is to have different levels, right? Where we are right now, in 5 years, we should have another story. We should have that story of, hey, we started this podcast and in 5 years, hey, now, at the time we were only making X amount of dollars. Now we're making, this amount of dollars, right? Like your goals should be big. We should have a different story every year, every couple of years. You should be improving yourself. You should be, that should be the goal, to have a different story. You might drive a truck right now, but in 5 years, you finally got that Lambo, you finally got that Rolls Royce, you finally got that house, you finally went on that trip, whatever it is, you should have that story. And that, material things actually help tell your story too, right? I mean, you show up at the lake with that 40-foot boat that you've been wanting, and someone, man, how'd you get that boat? Well, let me tell you my story. I do this. I invest in real estate. I've bought so many properties that it's allowed me to be here on the lake on a Friday, on a Thursday with my 40-foot boat, or because I've done this. So, I mean, your goals of things, even that of material things, can help tell a story.
Hell yeah, man. It's incredible. And it's incredible when you think about like how many stories are out there and how many stories you have a day. And it's so powerful. Like if you can connect with someone on just telling a very short story about yourself or your life or your journey, and you're given these reasons, like it just makes making it doing business with that person so much easier, because we're all rooting for the underdog. Like no one wants Tom Brady to win fucking 12 Super Bowls, okay? They want fucking the underdog occasionally to kick his ass, because I think that's what we're rooting for. I think Mother Nature, I think the way that we're designed and the way that we portray ourselves, I mean, we've been told underdog stories our entire life. Anyone that is successful has had this underdog story. And I think even if you're not an underdog, you can tell an underdog story about an underdog situation and fucking be successful. I mean, it's incredible, like what some of the people who, I mean, like look at like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, and and billionaires are really good examples, but even guys who who maybe had nothing and they turned nothing into something. I mean, I had the pleasure of having drinks with a guy named Nathan Barry. He created an email marketing company that would just do blogs. Okay. His email marketing company was specifically to blogs. And sure enough, he reached out to every single person who had a blog 10 years ago. And he's built a company that's worth $180 million. And he did it with he just told a story. And he just is like, I just kept working on it, kept telling my story. I kept reinventing myself. I kept grinding. I kept going every single day. And all of a sudden, when we had nothing, and all of a sudden we have everything. And it was, I mean, one of the cheapest fun guys in the world. I mean, I think I was the one buying drinks, which is frustrating.
So I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit, or just counter that. So Tom Brady is an underdog story. So let's not forget, he was drafted in the sixth round.
No, I'm just saying, like
I want to see him win again, right? Because but with that, right? Everyone who Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they all started with nothing, right? Essentially nothing. Tom Brady, his sixth round pick, and then they became, the best at what they do. And so, I like winning. I like dominance. I want to see Tom Brady win another one, because you know what, that should be, yes, we all like that underdog story, but the underdog story does turn into when it does turn successful and stuff, so it could go either way. Yeah. You do want to see the up and comer win.
I'm not saying Tom Brady's he's been given everything. No, trust me. The reason why he's still grinding today and is coming out of retirement to play more football is because he is the underdog, and he always has been. But when I look at him, in the years that I've grown up watching him, I was the 49er fan. I wanted fucking Alex Smith to go kick his ass. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe that was a poor example, but I'm a big fan.
I was a Raider fan, all right? I still remember that freaking game, so yeah, if anyone should not like Tom Brady, it's me.
Yes.
But at the same time, I enjoy winning and dominance, and that's, and that he is what everyone, whether sports or even not sports, but you should strive for that, right? I mean, he puts in the work. He puts in the work. He has that relentless want to win, right? I mean, you've seen the short clips, on the NFL, or one of the things they do, him either yelling at teammates or the things he does, or anyone. You go from Michael Jordan to Kobe Bryant to these people, they have certain expectations. And they were all once underdogs. I think the only person, probably LeBron James, wasn't ever an underdog. He was the chosen one since he's been in high school. But a lot of those other people, they started out as underdogs, right? To some extent, and they just had that will to win and that want and not compromising on their standards, which is what a lot of people do. To go back to storytelling and sales and all this stuff, with building your brand and telling your story, in a business sense, if you're a certain way, your business, right? Whatever you sell, whatever it is, you shouldn't compromise to meet someone that's not your customer, right? So if you sell your widget at $200 and you have a customer looking for a $100 widget, that's not your customer. But and you shouldn't compromise to put your price to $100, because then you're lowering the value of your product that is a $200 product, and a lot of other things. So just to kind of go, a little tangent lines, you shouldn't compromise, and you should tell your story the right way to the right people, and that's how you'll find your right customers.
And JC, shut your fucking mouth about Tom Brady, okay? No, I agree with you, man. It's I think this has been a really good show. It's dude, I think this has killed it. I think these are two topics that like really go together, because I think oftentimes, so many times, that like getting out of your comfort zone, telling your story, like that's the beginning, and the beginning's so fucking fun. It's so exciting. Sometimes it's not fun. It's terrifying, but it can be a lot of fun when you look back. Like a lot of the laughs I've had over these last couple of years have come from some of the struggles and some of the heartache. But I think it's, dude, I think we had a great show. If you don't like this, give us a thumbs down then. I don't know.
Our episodes have been getting better. I have to say, and I was just checking my, the accounts. Our last episode 4, only has a few views. I don't know what was going on with that. I don't know if we didn't promote it hard enough. First episode, we're still in the double, I think it was at 15. So, guys, people are watching the first episode, man, they got to get to these newer ones, because they're better and better. I know our first one was pretty rough, but
well, our first one, I think we were very strategic with the title placement.
We were, yeah. Well, we were just too strategic in general. I think
little clickbaity.
We're like, hey, what should we talk about today? These two things. Okay, cool. Let's talk. Because sometimes that's where the best stuff comes from, right? This whole podcast episode was loosely planned about, hey, these are two topics, and let's just tell our stories. Sometimes even with that, when you're trying to, let's plan out our story, get it all technical, we got bullet points, which is cool. We had to start somewhere, but so sometimes just telling your story and having the uhs and those things, and maybe having to think for a second is fine, because that's the real you, and comes out with the better stories.
Absolutely. So with that being said, guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, give us a follow, comment. Have a good one.
Follow me on TikTok, okay? I need to get to 104.
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.